Okay, some more triangle proofs. These ones are going to change just a little bit. They're going to use something called CPCTC. So on your theorem card, whatever color it happens to be, it's the one at the bottom. And it says congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And that is what CPCTC stands for. What it means is once I get triangles congruent using any of these 5 ways, once I prove that, then it means that the remaining parts of the triangles are congruent. So if I manage to prove that 2 triangles are equal because of side, 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 then it means that their angles, their corresponding angles, are also congruent. Or once I prove HL, then it also means that that third side. So anytime I can finally get my triangles congruent, it means that the last bits of information that are missing on the triangle have to be congruent as well. So when we're doing these proofs, these CPCTC proofs, we're going to start them out just like normal, but one step above is where our triangles are going to be congruent, and the very last one will be our proof. So one step above is where our triangles will be, and then the last step will be our proof. So we're going to work on getting our triangles congruent just like we have been, no change there. So I've got JM congruent to LM. And angle JMK is congruent to angle LMK. So I've got this angle congruent to this one and that to that. I'm always looking for shared sides and vertical angles, so I know that KM is going to be congruent to KM. Reflexive property. My triangles are now congruent by side, angle, side, so that's where this is coming in. So triangle JMK, going like this, is congruent to triangle LMK by side, angle, side. And my last step pretty much says that once my triangles are congruent, once I get side, side, or side, angle, side to work out, that means that angle J has to be equal to L. It also means that JK has to be equal to LK. So it kind of gives you every last bit has to be congruent. And that is where CPCTC comes in. So it's really no different of a proof than we were doing before. Only you're kind of going one more step and saying, now that I have the triangles congruent, that means everything else must be congruent. So our given, when you're looking at one of these proofs, you're going to get the first step always. We got to tell you where to start. I'm going to give you some information to begin with. That should say congruent there, missing its little curly Q. The last step is always the proof, and that has not changed. This will be CPCTC, because we already know that once I get my triangles congruent, all the other pieces will be congruent. We know that this has to be my triangles. I just don't know what the reason will be. So when you get to a CPCTC proof, you actually get a lot of the proof filled in for you. You usually only have to find 1 or 2 other things. So for this guy, I've got one side equal and one angle equal. They share this one, so I've got AC is congruent to AC by reflexive. Sorry, that should be CA. Now my triangles are equal. The reason is side, angle, side, and my proof is done. Once I get those triangles equal, my last step is CPCTC. So on the test, you're going to have to look at the prove line and decide, is it triangles or is it another piece of the triangle? If it's triangles, then you'll end with side, 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 angle, and all that. If it's another angle or a side, then you're doing CPCTC, and you'll know how it ends. Next one, if I didn't change these already for you, make sure you change those, but I think I fixed them from last year. And then I just need to do, I'm just going to mark a little bit. So TRS, I've got that one equaling to QPR right there. I've also got that PR and RS are the same, that's these guys. And then I've got that ST is parallel to RQ. So I've got all that information. Give me a moment while I fill it in here. And looking at the last thing that we're going to prove, it looks like we're going to prove something about the triangle, not the triangle itself. So we won't be done once we hit side, 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 angle, angle, side, or anything like that. So right now I've got 2 things. I've got an angle and a side. If I have the parallel lines, I definitely am going to have to extend them. And I'm going to draw that transversal in there. And so now I know that this guy is congruent to this one. And this is the first ever one that we've done that has been corresponding angles. So I've got angle TSR equal to QRP. Now that I have those equal, the triangles must be congruent. So triangle TSR is congruent to triangle QRP because of angle, side, angle. Last step is always what they wanted you to prove, so angle T equals angle Q. And since we already have our triangles equal, we must be talking about CPCTC. So your proofs today are going to end all with an angle or a side needing to be proved equal. You still go after your triangles, and then the very last step is just CPCTC.